Happy Hour. Mike, what's going on?
Derek, we're on Chandler Street, which I heard of once, but I never drove on it. And now we're here exploring a new building. So this is cool.
It's a sweet spot. I mean, I didn't know how developed it was going to be, but it looks extremely modern inside. So is this a new building?
Yes, the developer completely gutted the building, and there's maybe a dozen to 15 separate spaces just like mine with kitchen rooms. So,
Oh, cool.
So this is new, yes.
Awesome. Well, so for everybody listening, we are at Buffalo Cake Pops, and we have some equipment running behind us that we just can't shut off, obviously, because we like to record in the space that we're interviewing. So let's continue going. How are you? You want to introduce yourself?
I'm good. My name is Rosalie, and Rosalie Caruso, and I own Buffalo Cake Pops.
What made you get started? This is a very niche type of cake, even. So what made you get started in this type of cake industry?
I started with cookies. I think I always tell people I was baking cookies for a friend's wedding, and I was going through recipes, and we found cake pops, and it didn't work out for me at all. I tried to make a cake pop. I was like, this is horrible. And then I did it a second time, and I was like, I could change this, and I could change that. And it's cake on a stick. So that just, I like to bake, but I've always been more sit down, want to decorate something. So cake pops are awesome because it's not like cupcakes or cookies where the oven is on. You just bake one cake, you let it cool, then you get between 30 to 60 cake pops out of it, and you sit and you decorate. So that's why I really like doing cake pops. It kind of happened by accident, and it didn't work out for me right away, but people love to tell me about the first time that they tried to bake a cake pop and about how it didn't work out. And I was like, that was me. That what you're telling me was me, but I just did it again. No one knows why. Here we are.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when did you start baking as a human being, enjoying the process?
As a human being, I would bake cookies in college for my friends. I don't remember before that, but every year at Christmas, my mom and I would do sugar cookies, and my grandma has some Italian cookie recipes that I would eat, and then I got interested in how do you make these, and then I guess that's kind of how it started. But then, so let me think. In maybe 2011, I went to ECC for a semester, and I took classes in their culinary school, and the baking portion of things, but I learned some great things. I got some books, I got some recipes, but it was more fancy production line stuff like creme brulee and making a plate look fancy and elegant. And I was just less interested in that, but I wanted to know how to decorate cakes too. And they were like, oh, well, that's not the place for this. You got to go to the Wilton School of Decorating at the craft store. I was like, what am I here for then? So I kind of just have been teaching my stuff on the way, YouTube, watching people on Instagram, watching cookie decorating videos and stuff. So, but I started out of my house and then shared kitchen spaces, and now we're here.
So talking about that aspect, when you started out of your house, how, do you need any special equipment to start off? Because it's a cake pop, but it's not like you were saying, it has a cookie dough consistency. So do you need any special equipment to make this, or is it just a normal cake?
No, it's just when I first started making them, just playing around, it's just a box mix and a tube of frosting you can use. There are tips and tricks to know along the way that I figured out, but after I figured out the technique, you can really do it with any recipe. We do over 20 different flavor of cakes, and so no, nothing crazy. There are tools and stuff that we use now, but you can pretty much do everything by hand.
So when you were back at home, were you doing stuff for friends at that point? And what point did that kind of transition to you doing this as a business?
So I started doing stuff at local farmers markets, and once I got more serious, I had to get my DBA, my doing business back, as I went down to City Hall, and that was pretty much it. I paid $37.50 to the clerk or
But it
whatever.
was an exciting process, right?
It was
Getting
an
that
exciting
DBA?
process. I remember stepping into the county building and being like, I'm doing this. And it's a weird, like, the basement and the card catalog. And anyways, I went to do that, and then I rented kitchen spaces, like shared kitchen spaces. I was at a church for a while, and no one liked sharing kitchen space. There were food trucks. Some days I'd walk in, there would be barbecue sauce all over the floor, and my product would be in the fridge, like just in a different spot and tipsy. But then I found my own space. I was going to share kitchen space in the Horse Feathers building on Connecticut Street. I don't know if you know where that is, but they had some kitchen space down below. But instead of just renting the kitchen, I just rented out space. And I kind of did that before I was like not thinking about it seriously. I should say that this whole time I had been working full time at Roswell.
Oh, wow.
So I went to college at Geneseo. I got my master's at UB at Roswell. And then I just never left Roswell. I worked in a smoking tobacco lab. Smoking's still bad for you. Don't do it.
We do not, so
I
we're good.
hear it's really hard to quit. So anyways, I was doing that, and this whole time, it was like a very lenient, like come as you go. Like I wasn't a nurse at Roswell. It was just very laid back. I was getting the work in. But I was very stressed, and there was a period of time, especially when I was going to school, there was a period of time where I would leave Roswell at 3:30, go to ECC, and then get home at 9:30 at night. That was insane, but I didn't even think twice about it because I loved it so much. I was like, this is awesome. And you would walk into the cooler at school, and there would be like 20 dozen eggs, and I'd be like, this is crazy. These are so many eggs. And now I go buy 30 eggs like every other week, and I'm like, how am I out of eggs again? Like, I can't process that I am now doing this. Like, it's just incredible to me. I just continuously feel so blessed and grateful. I just can't, because I was doing this all on the side. I finally paid off all my student loans. And then at the beginning of this year, it was going to be a big year, guys. At the beginning of this year, I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to quit my day job. So I told my boss, and then COVID happened, and he was like, are you going to like hang out longer? Like you can if you want. And I was like, I think I just got to go.
People need cake now more than ever.
Well, yeah, but just who quits their comfy state job to put
Exactly.
cake on a stick? But people are so receptive, and people love it because it's different. And this whole time I knew I was doing something that would be okay. Like, I never envisioned anything like what's happening right now. But I just knew that it was going to be okay because there's so many bakeries in the area, and people are doing lovely things. But, like, not that anyone can make a cake or a cupcake, but if you really love baking, you can generate flavors and stuff. But people do not want to do this. And I would rather, people do not want to make cake pops. I would rather make 1 million cake pops before I made a 5-tier wedding cake. That just seems awful to me. So,
Why do you think people don't want to make cake pops?
It's insane. Look at this guy. It's a gingerbread on a stick. It's very time consuming. But it's so, I mean, at Christmas, like at Thanksgiving week, let's just say I have great help. I have really great employees, and they're either faking it or they really love doing this, and they'll like, we'll make all the turkey cake pops you need. But it's just doing the same thing over and over again. But then when people come to pick up their stuff and they're like, these are so cute, then you just know that that was really worth it. And it's so instantly gratifying, as opposed to working at Roswell and saying you're going to help people quit smoking and big tobacco is taking over the world and you're never going to see a change before you die. This is much more interacting in the moment with people, so it's pretty cool.
It's a fight you're never going to win at the other job because people will just keep doing it.
Right. In my heart, I know I can individually help people. You know what I mean? But, like, there's only so many notes you can leave in your grandma's fridge and the cheese drawer of grandma don't smoke when you're 13. So just, you try to reach out to as many people as you can. You know what I mean?
So you were essentially the, like, on the therapy counseling side, at the previous position?
It was more.
Like, what was the title?
So I was a research technologist, and what we did is, well, people in my department are working on different things. So, like, someone else would work on secondhand smoke, like in 2003 when the laws went into effect in New York State of no smoke. I remember being in a Mighty Taco and someone was smoking, and, you know, or like bars and stuff. So, I mean, like, the work that they did led to those kind of things. But they do a lot of stuff with e-cigarettes now. I would do more like lab stuff. Like, we would get cigarettes from all over the world. Like, I could name you 10 brands of cigarettes from China from the year 2007. Like, that's what I was doing. It was very cool. But then we would, like, take apart all the cigarettes and say, these are all the contaminants. And we were looking at how cigarettes changed over time, and if big tobacco was changing the design to make them more addictive or to get people to, it's all very deceptive.
Wow, that's wild. And it was only cigarettes? You weren't doing like cigars or anything else? Or?
So yes, we were doing, well, my lab, we did do a little bit with cigarettes. Someone else in the hallway did stuff with hookah. I just thought of something I probably shouldn't say on the podcast. Anyways, but we had a smoking lab, and participants would come and smoke, and they would measure particles in the air and answer questions and stuff like that. But yeah, e-cigarettes were really big. When I left, well, this was a few years ago, they were just talking about medical marijuana, and if it got passed, if we could, you know, work with the pharmacy at Roswell to get some to work on stuff. But
we're focused on cake now.
Right, we are
know?
focused on cake. Although, you know, you could manipulate the cake pops to, you know, have other things in them, but that's down the road.
Not necessarily down that route. But my
Right, yeah.
my next question was, do you incorporate different flavors? Like, are you all of a sudden you bite into one and then you just get punched in the face with peppermint, or like, do you have a mint cake pop? Like, I don't.
Yeah. So when we started, it was just chocolate and vanilla from the box mix, and then I learned that making a cake pop, it isn't great if there's oil in the cake recipe. It should be butter, and just the little things that you learn along the way. But so then, like, I started with red velvet and chocolate Guinness with Bailey's Irish cream and cherry almond. So, but mostly my list has grown because people have said, I like pink champagne. Can you do a pink champagne cake? Or I like a s'mores. Can you do a s'more cake pop or an Oreo cake pop? Or so that, or gingerbread we did apple and oatmeal cream pie last month. So it's just really this continuous, you can change anything into a cake pop.
So when you get an order in, is it more designed around like birthdays, or what type of events, I guess, do you make cake pops for?
So the main thing was weddings. Remember weddings, you guys?
Yeah.
Sure do.
But all of that just went to the wayside this year. But in the summer, it was crazy. Like, sometimes we do between like 2 to 5 weddings per weekend. And the main thing we did, I don't have any pictures or anything to show you, were cake pop cakes, where we took a piece of styrofoam and we covered it in fondant just to make it look nice. And then we stuck the cake pops in this base to make it look like a cake. So larger scale things, we would do that. But mostly birthdays, baby showers. People are still really into having showers and passing things out at people's houses right now. And but mostly right now, it's mostly people want to do something very special because it's a very unusual year, and do something really special, creating, I mean, we've done the Office themed, Friends themed, Schitt's Creek. So we'll do like TV show stuff, or just themed. We put Drake's face on a cookie. You know what I mean? Just these are the list of things that we love. What can you do with it?
Is there a minimum order quantity? Like, you have to get at least 10 of them, or?
It's usually a dozen cookies, a dozen cake pops, just so we don't. I mean, if you really wanted something tiny, I could, but then I just have to pay.
Just walking off the street, I want one of them.
Well, this whole time, I've only ever done custom orders because I was doing it out of my house. I was working. It's not like I could have a bakery open during the day. And I did start to have employees that would be working in the bakery during the day while I was at work, and then we would meet up in the afternoon. So I could have been open, but the function of how this whole thing has gone is that it's not that I don't need someone to come in from off the street and have retail hours. It's just that people already know what they want. They order 2 weeks in advance and then they come and pick it up. So they don't have to worry if I have 24 Spider-Man cake pops in my bakery that day. They just know and they'll come and get it. But I did try to start to do retail sales, but again, I don't really need to do that. But it is always nice to have a few things extra in the case, because the people picking things up will be like, oh, I want something for myself. I'm getting this for someone else. So I'm starting to, once everything simmers down here, I would hope to go in that direction more. But I also don't want to start doing retail hours and have a case full of things if I don't have time. I really want to focus on what do you want. I'm going to have that ready for you. Because if you want something, you're the most important thing happening that weekend, just not if someone wants a chocolate chip cookie but I don't have it in the case, they'll just take something else. You know what I mean?
So when it comes to the shelf life of these, I've never had them where I had to have it like the next day, you know? Do they hold the shape and do they hold the consistency a day after, or how is that like? So,
I'm trying to think. Like this little elf here, I think he's like 2 weeks old. What we do is I have racks of cookies. I have racks of cookies over here, and we just make samples to take pictures of them to put them online so people know what they want. So they will last at room temperature for like a week. If they're individually wrapped, you could stick them in the fridge for about a week or two. Some people will buy stuff and then stick them in the freezer. So, but most people always say, don't tell me how long they're going to last because I'm going to eat them immediately.
Exactly.
So yeah. But yeah, these guys are about a week and a half old and they just stay put. We just keep them around so that when we're making them, if my employees are making them, they just have the model to say, oh, that's right, Mrs. Claus needs holly berries on her bun, you know?
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
It's
it was that long
insane
of
when
a
I
shelf
say
life.
that out loud. It's insane.
Yeah. But good for you. I mean,
Thank you.
You're sending it, you know?
Yeah.
Can't beat that.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
So when you're making something like this, like in front of us, for the people that are listening on the podcast platforms, we have some of them right in front of us, and one of them is a truck carrying a tree. We have a gingerbread man. We have a cup of hot chocolate. So are these molds or like cookie cutters that you stick in, or how do you make a cup of coffee?
Like
or hot chocolate?
Yeah, like
So,
X-Acto blades.
We used to do everything by hand. They do have
Jesus.
machines where you like put the dough and you roll it out and then it cuts it so you could get little shapes. But once we make the dough, we just use a cookie scoop, so they are all the same size. Santa, you just roll them into a circle. But I did start to buy like little tools. We did not mold this gingerbread by hand. That is crazy. But
That's
this
stunningly
truck,
perfect. So.
well, thank you. This truck, we have like a little cutter mold. It's like a plunger. Like you put the cake in the shape of the truck and then it just plunges right out. So these are things that I've just recently found. So in no universe would I try to make a truck without a plunger thing. But like that elf right there, that's all pieces of cake. Like his hat is cake, his ears are cake, his nose is cake. So we take off pieces of cake and glue them on with candy, and then we dip it to make it look like he has a nose. And that really does sound crazy when I say it out loud.
But you're technically an artist, like with all this stuff. So it's not crazy to sound, but you are. You really are. Like, this is talent. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do this. You make cinnamon buns, so you might be able to, but for the most part, like, I wouldn't be.
Are you kidding me? Mine would look like, I don't know. I can't even say it. That's how bad it would be.
So one of the big things that we also have been doing for 3 or 4 years are decorating classes. So you would come in and I would show you how to make these. This is a thing that's not happening right now, but we do offer kits. For the holidays, we're doing kits where you could decorate your own cookies, and I'm doing, reindeer and Christmas tree. So I film a video of myself, and then you come pick up a box from me, and then you follow along with the video, and you watch how to make a cake pop. Most of my customers that are making it, they've been to a class before, so they kind of know what they're doing. but I do have very loyal cake pop people that want to keep going, and I appreciate that very much. So it really isn't, it's really just, I taught myself how to do all of this, but it's not, you just have to have all the ingredients in front of you, and you have to have someone saying, you did this wrong, this is what you have to do instead. If you have those components, because whenever I would take a class, my boyfriend would be like, why do you have to take a class? Why can't you just look it up online? I'm like, well, I can't talk to the people, that person doing something. I need to know specifically how to fix something. And actually, when we got into sugar cookies, one of my employees and I, we drove to Toronto 3 years ago to take a sugar cookie decorating class with royal icing, because I followed this girl on Instagram. So we went to Toronto, and he was probably like, this is so insane, just be safe. And we went to a class, and she taught us, but it was awesome because she gave us a recipe, she showed us tips, and then we came home and we started doing cookies, and now we also are doing classes for cookies for what we learned. It's just this whole continuous circle of, it shouldn't be a secret. There's a million people doing sugar cookies in Buffalo. It's not like anyone's running out of business. So and people really, I really miss the classes so much. Like, obviously this whole year has been hard and people have been losing income, but the classes, because we sit in a room with 2 to 3 people. It's just me and my employees all day. But I don't have kids right now. And I love when they come in and they just ask good questions. And they're so messy and they're so fun. And then they leave. And it's glorious. And they went home with the product and they were like, I did a thing. And they're so sweet. But even adults, too, making sugar cookies, they're like, we couldn't do this. This is crazy. And then they're like, they did a thing, and I was involved in that, and that makes me feel good. Like, you could do it. You just need everything, you know?
It's crazy. Sure. However, it's one thing to bake a cookie and be like, it's a circle. It's another thing to, like, make that. Like, this elf has a personality by staring at it, and it makes literally no sense because it's a piece of cake.
Yeah.
So, sure, you could show me all day long how to do it.
Sure.
I still probably couldn't produce it. I mean, dude, in woodshop tech class, they showed me how to make a lamp. My lamp was a disaster. Like, this is not. This is an art.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. This is not for everybody. That's why we don't own this business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
You're crushing it.
Thank you.
I couldn't do this.
I think the craziest thing for me right now is I started doing this. And people make cake pops in the area, and I follow a lot of Instagram people on Instagram in different places making cake pops, and I'm like, that is so perfect. I could never do that. I think that the things that they come up with, and people are always like, you're so creative. How did you think? I did not think of that on my own. I saw it online. I said, that's cool. You are not going to call up the person in Tampa making cake pops and say, can you ship me some? So what do they care if I'm making a Santa? Not what if they care. And obviously I have created designs on my own. We do cake pops that look like little buffaloes. There'd be no reason for anyone else in the country to be doing that. Or like Sabretooth from the Sabres, like we do that. No, I had to come up with it. But I feel like I live a lot of my life now looking at something and thinking, that would be a good cake pop. And then how would you make that? And I think one of the best parts is that I've been doing this and I kind of came up with this thing. And now I have employees. My one employee, she's been with me for 3.5 years maybe. Like, she's the one that came up with that elf. So when people are like, you are so creative, we love your bakery, it's important to me that people know that it's just not me. Sure. It's other people too. And I'll walk away and I'll come back to the table and I'll be like, I don't even know how you did that. Like, how did you make the cheeks on that guy? I have no idea.
Yeah. So how many employees do you have?
So I have 3 girls total that help me, but it really is a labor of love. My parents help me; they do, errands for me and stuff like that. So I have a lot of help.
Yeah, no shame in that. I mean, this is a very tedious business, especially to mold some of this stuff. So with cake pops, we talked about cookies a little bit. And I know that you had a question before about how that text gets on there. So what type of cookies do you use or do you make?
So it's just a basic sugar cookie. And it's a regular cutout cookie. And then we use royal icing. In the past, I've only ever done buttercream, like just platter on some butter because that tastes better than royal icing. But the royal icing gives it like that nice flat shiny look. That's really popular right now. People really want impeccable food art for like a shower favor or something. Sure. We just recently got into trying to do airbrushing. So it's a stencil that you put on the cookie, and then it's like when you go to the mall and they have those kiosks with those guys making the T-shirts and they're airbrushing it's just edible
paint,
gel, or edible ink, and you just brush it on the cookie. So that's how they. And in the past, I've been like, every time I was like, I guess we'll start doing cookies. People seem to want this. And then I think, well, I don't need airbrushing, but it makes it look a little bit fancier. Even now, I'm still like, I don't know. It's so much is going on when you try to add one more element that it just takes up time, and I don't like a learning curve. I just want to like know how to do it right now. Right. As I say that in front of you with all this stuff.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But it's going okay. We learn a lot as we go along too. Sometimes I'll say yes to orders and I'll be like, can we really do that? And before I say yes, I'll ask my employee and I'll be like, do you feel like doing this? That's so cute. Let's do it. And I'll be like, great, you're doing that. I hope you come in that day.
Wow, that's wild. It does give it a better look though.
Yeah.
The airbrushing.
Yeah. Fancy.
So you were saying your lead time is about 2 weeks for some of this stuff?
Depends on the order.
The more time you give me, the better. But, I mean, 3 people called me today and said, can we get something for Saturday? So, gotcha. In the past, there was no way I could do that because I was working and I had a set schedule. But now we've ramped up production where you can call us at the beginning of the week and we get something for the end. I can sometimes, also if it's a smaller order, sometimes we already have the product. Like if there's already a dozen white cake pops in the fridge, all we have to do is take them out and decorate them.
Oh, okay.
But if you want 4 dozen peanut butter banana bread cake, but we probably don't have that flavor on hand. But my favorite is when someone is like, I know this is short notice, but can you do this? And if you can, this is exactly what we'd want. And I'm just like, I don't have time to email you even before Saturday, but it's an adventure.
So what was the weirdest thing that you've gotten for, like you had to have some crazy order that someone's like, I want
People
flamingos.
Always ask me this question. Flamingos are tame. That is a tame order. I'm trying to think. We've done... the first thing that always comes to my head is the poop emoji. I don't know why. Like, that's a pretty... that's a pretty crazy thing. Yeah. But people always start this with, this is a crazy request. But, and I'm like, it's not crazy. It's already been done. Like, everyone's sending the poop emoji to each other every day. So, It's nothing. I guess we have done a handful of bachelorette cake pops, and there is a mold for that. So that is, but that's probably one of the craziest ones that we feel slightly uncomfortable doing, but we'll do it, and we don't take pictures of it and put it on the internet because I like to think of myself as family-friendly place. Absolutely. But I can do it if you need it.
Yeah. Just a little extra cost for that.
A little extra
cost. So you said that you have some stuff just chilling in the cooler. Mm-hmm. Do you make a ton of them and then get, like, if someone orders it, you can just pump them out?
Yeah, so what we usually do is we kind of see based on orders what we need for the week, and then I'll count how many cakes need to be baked. So if it's Monday or Tuesday, we are baking the cakes. So if we made 6 vanilla cakes and I get to the end of the week and I still have leftover vanilla cake, it's probably not, if you just want simple cake balls, then it's not hard. But again, if you call me on Thursday and you want Oreo cake and I don't have Oreo cake, like if you want on Thursday an order for Saturday and you want them to look like Spider-Man, that's a little bit more detailed, and I probably can do them for you in a normal time, but I might not have that flavor because the flavor stuff happens in the beginning of the week with the production.
Absolutely.
So, and how do I say this? I have a lot of regular customers now. So now when people email me, they'll be like, I don't know if you can do this, but if you can, and I'm like, well, I'll fit this in because it's for Julianne, but now everyone is like someone I do stuff for a lot, so it's like you want to help out every person that you can. But actually, most of my regular customers really are respectful of my time. They realize that things take time, but
especially, I mean, look at what it is. Like,
yeah,
you're not just making a cake.
Sure.
You know?
But people are always like, you must be so busy. Do you sleep? I get plenty of sleep every day. But yeah, I have employees and we set the schedule for the week, and it's not, unless it's Thanksgiving when we were here for 13 hours for 3 days straight, but in a normal week, it's just fine, and we come in and we have fun.
So how many cake pops does one cake make? Sounds like a riddle, but.
It depends. It depends on the recipe, but usually between 30 to 60 cake pops, depending on the recipe and doubling things and whatnot.
Interesting. Cool. So you're on social media. Do you want to give a plug to that?
Sure. I'm on social media. I am on Instagram and Facebook. It's just Buffalo Cake Pops with an S at the end of pop.
Oh boy. Sensitive topic? Or?
No, it's just people will try to email me and they'll say, I just realized you didn't get my email. And it's hard. Buffalo Cake Pop. Sometimes you really have to pronunciate.
There's an S, no Z, and there is definitely something. Gotcha.
Correct.
Cake pops.
Right, yeah. But I always tell people I wouldn't be on social media anymore if I didn't have a business. It's such a drag, and it's trying not... And it's like, well, just don't look at your feed. Just do your business stuff. But it's hard. And then you want to interact with people and answer questions, but I do think a lot about what if social media as we know it right now didn't exist. And I do still get a lot of customers that find me online just by Googling me.
Absolutely.
So I think about that a lot. I have a newsletter and...
Do you have a website or anything, or is it all through Instagram?
I do. It's buffalocakepops.com.
Is that where you normally like your orders to come from, or can you order something through Instagram?
My website is a mess right now, but I used to have like a contact form, but most people just email me or call, and they order stuff. I really need to redo everything. Right now I still have people filling out a Google form, and then I send them an invoice. It couldn't be more inefficient, but I'm working on it. January is coming, and I'm planning on adding a shop to my site, so
love it.
You can only do so much in one day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, all right, dude, relax. Get out of my head. So for your email, it's buffalocakepops at
gmail.com.
Gmail. Love it. Very secure, very efficient. Just because I know somebody's going to ask, like, well, what was the email? Just because there was, I wanted to place an order, and then I got distracted and I missed it. So I wanted to make sure it was very obvious during this interview that we got the email.
My favorite thing is, and I know this isn't specific just to me, is when you post something, and this is my product, this is how much it costs, this is where you can order it, and then someone will comment on the post or message me and say, how much is this? Yeah. And I'm just like...
So your basic cake pops, how much is it for a dozen? Do you have a set price for them?
Yeah, so like just basic decorated, pink cake pop with sprinkles is usually $24 to $25 per dozen. So it is by the dozen. If you come into the shop, you could buy it for $2 if I have it on hand. But a good majority of people are getting simple designs. But again, if you're getting a cake pop, most people want something special. So the theme is unicorns. Can you make it look like a unicorn?
Of course it's a unicorn.
It's still an exciting time to be alive. That was my signature motto, but I still believe that strongly in my heart.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
I feel like these would be, like, typical for a gender reveal party. Like, decorate all of them, half of them blue, half of them pink, and then once you bite inside, there you go.
I have done that before, instead of cutting a cake. The great thing...
then everybody can be a part of it,
Everyone can be a part of it, So, that is fun. I kind of get nervous doing gender reveal, though, because, well, first you could say, I'm, bake the inside blue, so I know that the inside is going to be blue. But sometimes I worry that, like, did the candy cover everything? Can you see the blue? Like,
yeah.
I'm just so nervous. Or be really careful so they don't crack in the box so it doesn't get... Because then you'll ruin the surprise. But once it's out of my hands...
You can only do so much.
I can only do so much.
Yeah.
That's
So-
super interesting about it breaking because, yeah, that would be very bad.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's not really that. All I had to do is squish it a tiny bit for it to crack. But, and of
Interesting.
course, yeah, then I could definitely ruin someone's day. You'd be surprised the emails
make their
I
day.
get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, is there anything else that you want to add? Anything else that you want to talk about? What about the space? You just came here, so
Yeah.
you're not going to be moving somewhere anytime soon.
Sure. So, we've been here for a year already, and I cannot even believe that. My lease is for 5 years in this building. So this
Okay.
building has about 12 to 15 different, it's just food businesses. And it's awesome because when you're getting started, you need to have a licensed kitchen, and not a lot of people can afford that. So you use shared spaces, but I think this building is, I think most of us are like in between people. Like, we didn't want to pay for a shop on Elmwood or Hurdle because that's a lot of money.
Right.
We just wanted to bake. Most of us are like heavy on the production or like catering. So it's just nice. And this building, they got grants from the state of New York. So that kept down some of the pricing, but it came built out with everything. So we have an office and a cooler and the hood system behind me and all the proper sinks and stuff. So it really is, all we had to do was just move in. And since I've been doing this for so long, I've acquired so much stuff. I literally only had to buy my own oven and a mixer.
Oh, cool.
So it is really great, and the building
Wow.
has a great little community. They've started doing a market. We wanted to do like an indoor winter market this year, and people are still coming in, but on Saturdays from I think 9 to 1 officially, like, all the businesses are open for retail, because again, not everyone is open for retail all week long. So we're just trying to get people to come out safely, to come, and then they are inviting like additional vendors out in the parking lot as long as weather permits throughout the winter. But like, there was produce in a farm, someone had apples, so that was cool. I missed our old building too, because it was a space filled with other businesses, so you could like talk to each other about ideas and collaborate and
Yeah,
stuff
just
like
overall
that.
networking.
Yeah.
You have a huge spot here, though, to continue to grow. So it's not like you're limited on space here. This is a pretty large area.
Yeah, sure. Although it's funny, it's been a year, and I'm like, I already feel like I need more space. But I do think about sometimes, like, where I'll be headed after this. I have always thought about having like a retail shop on the space, but again, I really want my focus to be custom orders. I don't want to get so big where it's all about stuff, just random cookies leaving the shop every day. I really want to cater to what the people in the community want, just because it's so nichey, and I want you to be able to get what you can, because you're not going to be able to get what we're doing anywhere else, really.
100%.
Do you see people doing this now since you kind of started in the area, I should say?
Some people do offer simple things. I think people offer them because their customers are asking for them. But I do get people that'll say, so-and-so referred me to you. I do think about that sometimes, because even the network of people that I know will say, so-and-so stole my t-shirt design. There's only so many ways you could draw a buffalo
Right.
on a t-shirt. You know what I mean?
100%.
But with
Good point.
cake, like, what do I say? Like, if another shop were to make this little Santa, like, I could say, you copied me, but you copied anyone online. Like, my Santa is a tiny bit different than any other person that I've seen on Instagram, but in different places. So it's hard to say who would really be insane enough to come along and try to do this, but I really wish them well.
Good. Competition helps.
I love that.
Great.
So
Cool.
I still can't believe I'm doing this. Yeah.
That's awesome. But you are, and you're killing it. So keep doing what you're doing, because you're great at it, and this attention to detail is going to be amazing.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We love it.
Good.
Well, thank you very much for letting us come down here and
Thank
talk
you
your
for
brain off on
coming
all
in.
things cake, because that's always a great thing for us to
Yeah.
do. And yeah, appreciate your time.
Okay, cool.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank you.